Welcome back to Gilbert's Repairs. Today I'm going to be tackling the front brake flexible pipes on my son's 2006 Ford Ka. Alright, let's get on with it. Okay, so I've got the front wheel off, the car's jacked up. I'm going to do the brake hoses. They're advised on the last MOT and I did find one that was chafing. So this is the brake hose to the caliper that we're talking about. It's held in there and it goes around and it goes up to there. So we've got to disconnect it at that rigid pipe there. So I'm going to give it a wire brush off. Everything on wire brush off and a clean and a wash down with some brake cleaner. And then I'll get back to you. Okay. I've just cleaned off the end there. These were replaced a few years ago, so they've got grease on them. That's an 11mm spanner onto that one. And then up the other end of the pipe, on the brake pipe there, we need to get a spanner on there. That's the rigid pipework of the car. And that's a 13mm. And then on the pipe, on the flexi pipe, we need to support that when we're undoing, and that's a 17mm. So I'll pop a camera on the stand and then I'll show you how we go about it. I nearly forgot to say, before you start any job like this, you've got to ensure that you've got the correct parts. So when you go off of that up and make sure that our new part is correct. So that seems okay. So before we commit to damaging our old component, we've got to make sure that the new one is correct. Okay, I'm going to start to remove the pipe now. What I like to do is clamp the flexi hose with a pair of grips to cut off the oil supply down. So that's that clamped off. So now I'm happy to undo the bottom pipe to the caliper. Give it a go. Oh, there he goes. So we should get a bit of oil coming out of here, or brake fluid. But we should only get from the grips down coming out of the pipe. So this is a way to do it so it's cleaner. So you're not draining, it's not draining the whole system of brake fluid. So that's that one undone for the brake pipe, the flexi. And then this is held in a bracket here onto the front strut with a rubber mount, so we can get that off. Bit of jiggery pokery, it'll come away. So there we go. So now we've just got the flexi detached from the caliper. So all that it remains to do now, we'll connect up the new one at this end first. So what I'm going to do, we've got the new pipe there. I'm going to put that one on first, put it into its bracket, route it, and then it's just a quick swap over up there to minimize the mess from the brake fluid coming out. Okay, so I've got the new pipe here. If you note, I've put some grease around the threads so that it comes out easier in the future, because it'll probably be me here doing it anyway. So just to make my life easier in the future. So you screw your new pipe into the top of the caliper. Like so. And we give them a nip. You don't over tighten these because you'll shear them and damage them. They're very fine threads. So just tighten them in there. So that's just a nip. All right, so that's connected into the caliper now. So this is a weird setup on this one. It like wraps around on itself into the bracket. So it goes there. That rubber donut goes in there. With a press. Get a little. He presses in there. And then it goes up to the top. Up to the top fitting. Alright, so what we've got to do now is get a spanner on the bottom of that pipe there to hold it, to resist against, which is going onto there, look. So we're going onto there, so we're supporting there, and then we're going to undo that nut to the pipe. So that's the actual rigid pipe of the car now. And we'll spin him off, like so. So we know he's cracked off now, he's going to come off. So there's a clamp there. There's this that holds it in place. And you've got to, you can't get in there without blocking your view. You get your pliers on, you pull in. Don't know if you can see that. And you pull that out. Give it a wiggle. And that's what holds the, it's a spring clip, there he is, look. So it's a spring clip. So he pushes in, when you're doing the new one, he pushes in there. That's where it's going, to hold it in place on that bracket. Put that aside. So now, that's released it all from that bracket. So now we can undo that top nut, if you can see that, the rigid pipe to the flexi pipe. And this is where we're going to have to just do a quick changeover because the oil may come out. So we pull that pipe out of the bottom. And once this is undone, yeah, so that's undone. So he may start dripping now. There he goes, he's dripping. You can see him dripping. So now we get the pipe out of the bottom, the old pipe out of the bracket. Nothing's easy, it's all covered in rust. See, we're getting wet now with the brake fluid. There, so that's the old pipe out. And then we'll quickly put the new pipe in through the bracket. Oh, it's got a flat on it there. It's got a flat, so it'll only go in one way. Where's the flat? So we'll give him a wiggle until we find the flat. Now we can put the pipe onto the new one. Spin him down. And that'll get us out of the wet area now. So if we just give him a little nip up. Give him a little nip. I'm just going gently here, because we don't want to twist it all. And that's it, so that's that. So now, we push that pipe up. That bracket's a little bent there. Give it a little bend down, so that's it. So now, we just got to slide back in the spring clip there. And that holds it in place. Just give them a tap with the pliers. There, he's sprung in. So that went very nicely. Now that that's gripped, that's in place. Give it a little wipe down. That's in place. I'll get my spanner underneath to support the pipe, and then we'll just give this one a nip up the top. We'll tighten this one up. You It doesn't go on very well because it's rusted fittings. It's all swollen with rust. Being an old car. And we just give him a nip. Don't get too carried away with these. So that's in place now. Now, when I put this in, when I fitted this just then, I twisted that pipe. So I need to untwist that. It's under tension now. It's twisted onto there. So I'm going to crack off the bottom nut again. I'll move you so you can see. I think that's it. So I'm just going to crack off that one. I'm just going to take it out of this hanger. Because I rotated that a bit, I felt the pipe rotate. So we don't want him in twisted. There, so he's come out. So now we're just going to crack off this end to let it sit where it wants to. And that's it. So press that in again. God, they don't want to go in. There. So that now, we can get that to lay where we want it. Not twisted, not under tension. So that's it. So now I'll do that up. Because now it's going to lay in the position it wants to be, not where it was forced to. So that's it. That's basically that job done. We've got to bleed the brakes, which is this nipple here. They can be a pain. So I'll show you that stage now. I've got to change the pipe on the other side. It was the pipe on the other side that I initially found the fault on. He was chafing. I could see him rubbing when I was doing the wheel bearing on the other side. So I'm replacing them both as a pair. Just so I don't have to bleed the brakes twice if it gets picked up on the MOT or the inspection next year. So that's it. Look, it lays nice. It's not rubbing on anything. It's sat good. Both pipes are tightened. I'm going to give it a spray down now with some brake cleaner to stop the brake fluid eating away at the rubber or damage any of the paint, because it may eat away the paint on here. So I'll give it a spray down with some brake cleaner and then we'll get on to bleeding the brakes. We're now at the stage of bleeding the brakes. So we've got to open up the brake fluid reservoir, add some brake fluid to the maximum so that we can start the bleeding process. So what we've got, we've got a spanner there for the bleed nipple. Take off the rubber cap. And what we're going to do, put that one on there, and we're going to crack that one off when the brake pedal is pushed by somebody else in the car. When the brake pedal goes to the bottom, we'll lock it, and then we'll tell them to go down and on. So then, just for cleanliness, what we have, I've got a bottle there with a pipe, just a rubber flexible pipe that you just press onto the nipple so that the fluid that's pushed through, the brake fluid that comes out with the air and it goes into the bottle rather than out onto the floor. So it's just for cleanliness really. So we'll start the process now. I'll get my glamorous assistant to depress the pedal when requested, and then I'll crack off the nipple when the pedal's pushed down, and we'll watch the air being expelled from the system. Down. Up. Down. Up. down, up, down, up. Okay, there we go. That was the brake flexi pipes on the Ford Cat. Quite a basic job, a job that a home mechanic can do with basic hand tools. Is not a problem. So if you've liked this video, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.